It's time for Hive Fleet Orchid to rise! In this one, I just want to finally get all my Tyranids done and painted and out of the way. And while this isn't gonna really be a speed painting video, because on the big ones I really don't want to rush it, but I do want to take everything that I've learned these past few weeks and really utilize it in this so that we can be efficient and well painted. I've done a lot of testing on the color schemes, I've done some testing on the bases, and I'm gonna try and put all that together into this video of me painting the rest of my Tyranids. Let's get painting. So we're gonna start out with super gluing the stuff on the bases first, which you guys told me to do last time, which, duh. I don't know why I didn't think of that before. I'm gonna get the 3D printed pieces that I did earlier and I'm gonna put them nicely on some of the bigger ones and maybe some of the cooler models, and the rest is gonna have the earth texture. And I'm gonna wait to put any plants and stuff like that until after I've finished the pieces, because I don't want to get paint all over them, which it's gonna happen to the Termagant ones I already did. So that's just the way it is. I'm gonna have to repaint them or something. Let's start out strong. The airbrushing is done and I'm so glad to get that out of the way. It looks really nice, but I think I was finally grasping long-term project airbrush usage and how it works. The fact that, after, half an hour or so, you should go in there and clean things out and clean some of the paint that's drying. And I'm finally getting used to taking apart and putting together an airbrush quickly and efficiently to where I don't need to constantly fiddle with it to get it exactly right. And I studied up a lot on what each of the different parts did, and I think that helped a whole bunch. And I actually got a lot done in a very short amount of time. And speaking of airbrushes, something kind of cool happened. The company Gaahleri kindly sent me one of their starter beginner airbrush kits for me to try out. I really wanted to test it out on a really long project just to see if it's worth it, because the price point to me seemed crazy, like really cheap. $60 for a compressor and an airbrush just straight off of their Amazon store. I did all of the base coating in gray, the zenithal, and all the pink and the layers on that using their starter compressor and airbrush, and it did the job. It did decently well, and it's so compact. It's the GT 108 and their starter airbrush, the Classic Series CS30. It's definitely worth checking out. I'll have the affiliate link down in the description box if you want to check it out. Moving on, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on one of the bigger ones for a little bit because I'm really excited and want to do something big after doing all those termagants. I think I'm going to start with the Screamer Killer. He seems really cool, and have him look really, really neat, similar to the Trigon. His inner part here, black with the green highlights. His claws, the brown to yellowish color, and see if I can do a really cool pattern on the top of his head like I did with Mr. Trigon over there. Also, has anyone noticed how he has a tiny little stumpy tail? Like, so many other of the Tyranid models have these huge tails, and then this guy just has a tiny little pincer tail. It's really silly looking to me. Like, I see these cool, long, like, gross tails, and then there's just this little stubby one. I think it looks really silly. Let's get painting. Let's go. I don't know what it is about this model that makes him look so crab-like, also very crustacean. I don't think he's looking like a shrimp like the Lictor, but I saw this one creator actually make crab Tyranids, and every single time I see the Screamer Killer especially, I just see a crab. It's been a lot. I think I've been smelling too many paint fumes. I'm gonna go take a break, go to sleep, and keep going tomorrow. What is going on with his like inner thighs? They're weirdly stretchy, fleshy looking, and I have no idea how to tie that in to my orchid scheme. What is that? It's so weird looking. It reminds me a lot of, I don't know if you guys have read Mistborn from Brandon Sanderson, but how they have the flesh golems where the skin stretches as they get bigger, and it reminds me of that, but that's not very orchid mantis-y, and I have no idea how I'm going to paint it, and I don't want to just leave it pink. I think I'm gonna have to look at what other people did and how they tied it in, because what is it? I don't know how far I can get in this project in the next like week or two. I'm gonna keep chugging along, but I really don't want to rush it. So we'll see if this video will have all of these Tyranids or if I'll just show you the last bit at the end later. We'll see. Because every time I look over at the table, there's just so many. There's so many, but it's awesome and I'm excited to play them. So I'll just keep on going. I'll see you guys later. I am 99% done with the Screamer Killer, and he looks really cool. I mean, I think he looks, you know, like the other Orchid Mantis Tyranids that I've been doing, and he's gonna match super well with the rest of them. All I've gotta do left is finish the basing, but here he is. So I think next up, I'm gonna try and do all the Hormagaunts, and I want to actually speed paint these guys. So I think it's just gonna be quick 1, 2, 3 layer on the carapace, and then washes or contrast paints in their underbellies, because there's so many of them and I don't have that kind of time. And I wanna get something quick done so that way I can do another big piece later. I'll see you guys then. Bye. I'm not sure what day it is anymore. There's been a lot of starting and stopping with this project, but it's been a few days, maybe day 4 or 5. I've gotten really good progress on the Barb Gods. I basically spent so far about 4 hours on the squad of them, and I'm almost done, and they look, I think, pretty cool. I had to think about a lot of new pieces that I had to do for them, since they're not like all the other Tyranids I've been doing. They've got the brains, they've got big old guns, that sort of thing, and a lot of the other ones that I've done so far don't have those. So it was fun starting to think about what colors I could use to really tie that all together with my Orchid Mantis colors. I think all that's really left for these guys are their mouths and then cleaning anything up where I was just really messy. But there's no need for me to do all the cool brown-green highlights on the bodies of these guys because you can barely see it. I can barely fit my brush in there and it's just gonna take too much extra time. So I'm just leaving it brown, doing their teeth and their tongues and things like that. And they should definitely be okay to place on the board and have really cool looking Tyranids. So hopefully just another max hour doing their teeth and mouths and things like that. And I can move on to the next group of Tyranids. This huge army is a big challenge for me because I've never ever completed a whole army. I know, but this is gonna be the one and I'm super excited to see it through. So let's keep going. have to confess, I just can't paint any more of these Neuralgaunts. They're driving me crazy. They're just so little and so fiddly, and they're not satisfying to paint because they're just so small. And I know they need to get done so I can finally have all of my Tyranids done, but I can't do it. I just can't do it. I finished just doing the highlights and they look good, but now I have to do their skin and their claws, and I need a break. I will come back to them in between something else. I just can't do it right now. Like, they look fine, they look good. I mean, they're small, so it's not like they have to be crazy detailed. They just need to be detailed enough to look cool as a little group on the board, and they will. But I need to at least finish their claws, because they've all got claws, and then paint their underbellies and their teeth. But I'm hoping that if I get started on something else, then I can finish these guys really fast another day, because my brain is like, please, no more tiny little Neuralgaunts. I can't do it. So we're gonna be taking a break from them, and I'm gonna keep going down my list of big unit, medium, small, and I'm gonna paint one of the big units because I love painting those. And I've been eyeing the Psychophage for a long time because I really want to try out the smoke and make it look almost like a pollen-y, like a green-yellow pollen. So now I just have to think about how I'm going to paint under, like his underside right here. Like, is that going to be green? I think it should be, because of the whole green, brown, pink scheme I've got going on. Or he can just be white, that like really lightly tinted white pink that I've been doing the skin on a lot of the others. It's something that I'm having a hard time deciding. I wish there was a way I could like draw it or something. Maybe I could take a picture and like draw some green on it and see if I prefer that. And mainly because the very front little whip claw mouth thing that he's got, like these mandibles, they look almost viney to me. And I feel like that would also really match the theme. But then that's more green. So is it too much green? Should I put more brown in? These are things that are going through my head, and they've been for weeks, and I'm having a hard time really deciding. But I think making those mandible things be vines is something that I really should pursue because they look so much like it. And if I finish that, that might be easier for me to then later decide if I want to do his back either brown or more of that maybe brown green, similar to that's on the Screamer Killer. We'll see. Either way, I know what to do with his claws and his tail and all that stuff, so let's start there. Let's go. I was able to finish the Psychophage, but man, it's been like weeks now, and besides just feeling fatigued from painting so much pink in the same scheme all the time, I just realized that it takes so much more planning, I guess, to especially film for content projects this big, and it's an interesting new struggle that I'm going through. I'm glad I'm doing this. It's a lot of fun, but I literally do not know how these content creators, how they get all this content done and keep it so concisely put together. I know I don't really talk about that part of what I do, but it's really interesting to see how it's all working out. I think this is going to have to be parts. So this is gonna, I think, be the end of part 1. I've got 2 large units and 1 medium unit squad done, and except for their bases, but I wanted to do those all together with all the units, and I'm still gonna do that. So let's do the reveals. I'll see you guys in part 2 for more Tyranids. Bye guys.